Thank you. And I would like to call to the lectern our presiding officer, Dr. Valencia Jones.
To another beautiful day. It is with great privilege and pleasure that I serve as your president of this prestigious club. Thank you, Roz Carter, for your continuous support and for passing the ball or walking with me down this road. Before we get started with our regular agenda, it was voted on at our executive meeting that we will induct our new officers today. We have, sorry, not our new officers, our new members. We have 3 new members that recently joined. That is Doris, Nez, and Suresh. Am I saying it correct? So can we please give them a warm round of applause? So Doris, Nez, and Suresh. And fellow Toastmasters, it is my honor, duty, and privilege to induct new members into our club, Entrepreneurs Club. This is an important occasion, both for the new members and for our club. The individuals we are inducting have become Toastmasters that are seeking to improve their communication, leadership skills, time management, collaboration, and we welcome them with the opportunity to help them grow, learn, and achieve personal, professional, and Toastmaster goals. I will now announce our new members and ask that you hold your applause until the ceremony is complete. Our first new member is Doris Moore. Doris comes with Toastmaster knowledge and expertise, as she was an area director in the past. She attended our clubs and then she joined, and today she'll be our Toastmaster of the day. Nez. Nez is staying up late at night, or actually probably waking up, getting dressed for work, but missing an hour of work a night just to join us, be a part of us because she made entrepreneurs a priority. Not because of herself, but because of all of you Toastmasters and what you bring to entrepreneurs. And then we have Suresh. Suresh joined a couple times and he knew he wanted to be a part of entrepreneurs. He engaged, he collaborated, and we are so happy for them. So for the 3 of you, Doris, Nez, and Suresh, you are joining a worldwide organization that has helped nearly 3 million people learn to communicate more effectively. You will benefit from a proven program of self-development. You will become a part of an outstanding group of people who are dedicated to helping one another in the spirit of sharing and encouragement. You'll be assigned a mentor to assist you and guide you with any questions you may have. In addition, we're all here to assist you. Members who are mentors and members who volunteer to mentor accept the responsibility and pledge to share their knowledge, wisdom, and expertise with new members so that they can benefit from the Toastmaster meeting. Meetings in this club and the Toastmasters International are a privilege and carry many rewards. Yet, also in places, there's obligations to you too. We hope that you will serve in your duties and responsibilities and roles. And it's our collective obligation to grow and to improve ourselves, to share our knowledge and experience with our fellow Toastmasters with enjoyment. We ask you, our new member, and all members to dedicate themselves to personal growth, to share this great gift with fellow Toastmasters and help them keep our Toastmasters Club strong. With that in mind, our Toastmasters pledge is this. And if you want to unmute, you can, and repeat after me. I, and say your first name. In the presence of, in the presence of fellow Toastmasters of Entrepreneurs Club.
In the presence of our Entrepreneurs Club.
Make a firm obligation.
Make a firm obligation.
To attend meetings.
To attend the meetings.
To apply myself to the educational program.
To the educational program.
To participate in club activities.
To participate in club meetings.
And to evaluate others in a positive and constructive manner.
To evaluate others in a positive and constructive manners.
And now it's up to our entire club if you want to mute or unmute, but please repeat this after me. We, the members of
We,
the members of
Entrepreneurs Club,
Entrepreneurs Club,
pledge to support you
pledge
to support you
in your quest for self-development,
in
in
your
your
quest
quest for
self-development,
self-development,
to provide you
to provide you
with positive and helpful evaluations
with
with positive
and
and
helpful
evaluations,
to maintain a friendly
to maintain a friendly
and supportive atmosphere,
and
and supportive atmosphere,
to give you opportunities
to give you opportunities
opportunities
to help others
to
to
help
help others,
and to make your Toastmasters membership
and to make
and to make your
Toastmasters
Toastmasters membership
a rewarding and fulfilling experience.
a rewarding
and
and fulfilling experience.
On behalf of the members of the Entrepreneurs Club, the executive officers, the past executive officers, Doris Moore, Nez, and Suresh Kapiti, I think I'm saying it correct. We officially induct you as new members and welcome you with warm arms. Everybody hold your arms out. We're hugging you, welcoming you to the Entrepreneurs Toastmasters Club. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that,
Thank you.
and with that in mind, we would like to turn over the virtual lectern to one of our newest members that we just inducted, who is our Toastmaster of the day. Can we please give another warm round of applause to Doris Moore? Doris?
Thank you, Madam President. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Before we begin our meeting on mindfulness, I want everyone to sit still, feel whatever emotion they're feeling in their body, and together we're going to take a deep breath. We're going to inhale through our nose, and whatever emotion you're feeling, you're going to exhale through your mouth. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Mindfulness. I picked this subject today because I live in the world of sales. And if anyone like me who has that hustle of catching the next sales, your life can be kind of hectic. It feels like sometimes you're running in a hamster wheel. And so I have made a determination that I need to slow down in my life. I need to slow down and be mindful of what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and where I'm at in the moment. Are you guilty of multitasking? Raise your hand. They say multitasking makes your brain scattered, and I feel like that at times. I rush through my day. I rush through exercises just so I can cross it off my list and go to my next task. So for today, I asked everyone, let's sit in this 1-hour meeting as we learn the power of mindfulness. Mindfulness refers to paying attention to the present moment without judgment or attachment. It involves being fully engaged in our thoughts, our feelings, and body sensation, and as well as our surroundings. By cultivating a mindfulness, we can navigate the life's challenges and find clarity amidst all the chaos. It's another way to calm your mind and your thoughts. With that, we are going to have some functionary roles that will be described today. So for our first functionary role, I'm going to ask timer, Ms. Frankie Jones, if you can come off mute and describe your role for us today.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. It's my job to keep us on time. I do need a speech time from you, Taya. It shows 2 to 3 minutes. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
That's it. Okay. Thank you. So you'll see the green at 2, you'll see the yellow at 2.5, and you'll see the red screen at 3. You have 30 seconds to wrap it up. April, do you have a time for me?
5 to 7 minutes.
5 to 7. Okay,
Yes.
so green at 5, yellow at 6, red at 7. Again, 30 seconds to wrap it up. For table topics, 1 to 2 minutes will be green at 1, yellow at 1.5, red at 2, and we have 30 seconds to wrap it up. We'll have evaluation time of 3 to 4 minutes for feedback. So at 3 minutes green, 3.5 yellow, and 4 at red. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ms. Frankie. Our next functionary role is our table topic master, Ms. Carter. Ms. Carter, can you come off mute and just describe your role for everyone?
Warner is table topics master.
General, yeah, I'm sorry, it's general. Its table topic is Warner. My apologies.
Table topics master has people on the spot. It's like a journalist that comes up to you with a microphone and says, "What's your comment?" And there are 2 million people watching on television. What are you going to say? Table topics is good practice for that. And I've had experience not from a journalist, but other sources that got me on the spot. And it really does help. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. And our final functionary role is our general evaluator. Ms. Carter, can you describe your role today?
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Role.
I will be evaluating the entire meeting and make comments about our 2 speakers as well. Back to you.
Thank you. Moving on to our prepared speeches today, our first speaker has been with Toastmasters since 2018. She is working on the Write a Compelling Blog project from the Visionary Communication Pathway program. She is going to be speaking for 2 to 3 minutes, and she's going to share her experience about blogging with her speech titled Dear Birth Mom, Musing from an Adoptee in Reunion. Please welcome Taya Reed, Dear Birth Mom, Musing from an Adoptee in Reunion. Dear Birth Mom, Musing from an Adoptee in Reunion, Taya Reed.
Well, good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It is August. Happy August to us. So, season 2 of the I Found Her podcast has started today. In fact, one of our members, Deborah Gillis, was a guest. So we invite you to listen to season 2 premiere. So while we took a break during the month of July, I came up with the idea to start a blog. And the name of the blog is called Dear Birth Mom. So now the I Found Her podcast will have a blog section designed to engage our audience even more. My hope is that this will allow us to focus on building up our online presence even more and establish a larger audience. While I was thinking of the name for the blog, I decided on Dear Birth Mom because I wanted to step back in time a bit to remembering when my own mother would write me. She started writing me when I was in the Army, and it continued even post my time in the military. And so I decided to take that art of letter writing and put it in the form of letters, but this time to my birth mother. I believe that writing heals, and it is my hope that this blog will allow me to capture my thoughts in the form of writing, to take the opportunity of things that we may discuss on the podcast and maybe tease it out a little bit. And in hopes that I also will teach and expand our audience and hopefully allow the I Found Her podcast to become an expert in the adoption community. It is my hope that communicating these thoughts as well will drive traffic to our website as well as to the podcast. One of the major takeaways that I had while writing this blog is figuring out how to build in consistency, creating structure around the time frame that I would create content. And that was challenging, and it is still a work in progress to build that into a practice that I do each week. The goal of the title of doing this speech was for us to be able to post at least 8 in a month. And I have written 6, but I have posted 5. So therefore, it gives you a little bit of sense of how I've tried to work through that challenge. So without further ado, I do want to use the last few seconds of my time to introduce you to the I Found Her blog. So I am going to share my screen. Hopefully I can figure this out. I'm not seeing, oh, there it is. Okay. And here is I Found Her. And as we move through, you will see me and Roz. Aww. Description of us as our co-hosting. And then finally, Dear Birth Mom, musings from an adoptee in reunion, with the latest post being I Am Creole. And this will reference our episode number 7. And then there are several others around Vegas, and then our time on our trip last year in Denver. So thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Taya, for your speech today. I am inspired about your story, and I am also inspired that you're taking your podcasts and now you're exploring blogging. So that's really commendable. At this time, we are going to provide feedback to Taya. And if you would like to provide feedback, you can raise your hand, or if you want, you can send direct feedback through chat. I will say that if you are looking to practice mindfulness, one way is through walking. And since Taya has a podcast, you can listen to her podcast while you walk the neighborhood and feel those emotions. Let's see if anyone has any feedback. I don't see any hands. I know someone has feedback for Taya. There we go. Bon.
Yes, Madam Toastmaster. And you said it all. One of the ways to keep mindful, to retrieve mindfulness, is listening to the podcast, especially some podcasts which you feel familiar with and you share some emotions and the stories. That is, I found her that I'm listening recently and took a break, of course, in July, and can't wait for the next episode to come up. About your speech, I really commend you taking one step further to explore into this blogging field, and I wish you the best. For today's speech, I would love to see that you recite one of the quotes or fragments of one of your blogs recently that you have written to maybe to show us what kind of emotions you are put into this blogging field, or your message down the road. That would be helpful, not just plain explanation. That is what I expect. Thank you so much. A great speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Bon. Next feedback is going to come from Ms. Carter.
Thank you. Taya, I am so honored that you started a blog and called it Dear Birth Mom. We discussed that in one of our episodes, a book called Dear Birth Mother, and letter writing is so important. I'm glad that you have put it in a blog on our website. I found her podcast, and make it a point of entertaining the audience about the journey and sharing feelings about why it's important to write letters, to write a blog. We all listen or read Bon's blog and Dr. Lawana. It's like telling a story, but taking people into a deeper dive of what their message is. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Because I'm mindful of our time, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our second speaker. But if you have feedback for Taya, and if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I do apologize. Please send her feedback through our chat. For our second speaker, who is currently under the Pathway 5, she is working on leading in a volunteer organization project. Over the next 5 to 7 minutes, she is going to share her journey on getting healthy, on learning how to get healthy. In alignment with today's theme on mindfulness, April will share the power of yes and the power of no, and how it has helped her to be mindful of her prayer as she continues to transform her life, work, volunteerism, and family and business. Please welcome April, the power of yes and the power of no, the power of yes and the power of no, by April Gillis.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The power of yes and the power of no. Have you ever thought about the power each of those words hold? Today, I'd like to share with you how I've discovered that trusting the power of yes and the power of no have continued to transform my life. 9 years ago, I was living a different life. As our Toastmaster shared, Doris, I was on a different path, a different journey, a different career, building a different business with different ideas. And boom, life changed. I moved back to California. I had no idea what I was going to do, but I was in burnout mode. And I had one prayer. I had two, but I'll share one prayer with you today. I said, God, I want to learn how to get healthy. I thought that was going to be eat more salad, walk more, really just eat more salad. But that simple prayer turned into a 9-year career in public health. The power of yes. I was volunteering at my church because someone said no, they couldn't do it. So they asked me if I would. And I said yes. I had nothing else to do. And I was excited to be of need. I said yes. I was talking to one of the ladies there, And I told her my vision of my business. I said, I want to create a business one day that supports administratively small business owners so that they can be more effective in their business by having the right system. I didn't know who she was, so what harm was there? She said, when you get back from your family vacation, call me. I thought, who was I talking to? But again, that yes from the woman named Linda, her no became my yes. So Miss Clark is who I was talking to. God positioned me next to her, and she signed me up and said, would you like to volunteer with us? Absolutely. I had the opportunity to volunteer, and I was having a great time. I was learning, I was growing, and I thought this was amazing. Little did I know that that wasn't the end. There was another woman named Jackie that I met in this organization. Jackie had originally said yes to being a project coordinator. I was a volunteer. Well, life happened to Jackie, and she ended up saying no. Well, I had been volunteering for a few months. So Miss Clark looks to me, she says, well, April, would you like the role? Yes, I would. That yes, for me, came because Jackie had to say no. That allowed me to work in public health for the next 9 years as a project coordinator, working on grants in public health, implementing programming on nutrition, grocery shopping, culture and food. There was so much that I learned. God was answering my prayer. The power of Jackie's no was my yes. I had no idea. Few years in, there was a woman named Dee Dee. She had been working on a project, doing research for the company. Life was changing for her, so she had to say no to the next phase of the project. And when she said no, they came back and said, well, April, would you like to try it? You know what I said? Yes, I would. So I went from being a volunteer to coordinator, now researcher. I wasn't a researcher. It was an economics background and public health. But the power of someone else's no was my opportunity for yes. So for the next few years, I had the opportunity to help lead in research, in finding out chemical exposure to different products in women of various communities. That yes, for me, was transformational. Then the pandemic happened and life changed. The past 3 years has turned my life upside down in ways that I could never imagine. But that prayer still remained of learning how to get healthy, learning the power of my yes and the power of my no. This current season has brought me to a place that I wasn't familiar with. See, I was used to other people's no's being my yes. But in this season, God brought me to a place of mindfulness. That in order to remain on the path of my prayer of getting healthy, it was time for me to say no and let my no be someone else's yes. See, Linda's no was my yes. Jackie's no was my yes. Dee Dee's no was my yes. But now my no, my taking time off work for my wellness became Tiara's yes. Tiara, she was a volunteer. She was an intern. For 6 months, I had no idea this was coming. It was her and a few others. We would meet every week and we would have our meetings. They didn't know I was giving them table topics, but I was, because I saw that there was something in them that needed to be pulled out. There was a light that needed to be developed. And once Tiara graduated, she went off into the world looking for jobs. I felt this nudging for God calling me to take a step back from some things. And it was difficult because I was used to their no being my yes. But now my no was her yes. When I agreed and I submitted, Lord, I'll say no. I trust you to fill in the yes. Next day, I get a call from Tiara, or a text message. Miss April, I love my experience. I would really love to work for the organization full time. Tell me what I could do. I trusted God with my no, and it became Tiara's yes. So in this season, as I sit in the power of my no, she's rising in the power of her yes. So I ask you today, are you mindful of any places where you're called to say no for it to be someone else's yes? Or is there a yes that's waiting for you as you're filling someone else's no? Be mindful today to tune in to what that call may be for you. Madam Toastmaster.
Wow. Thank you for that inspirational speech. It made me think about another mindful activity of practicing gratitude and being mindful that a no is actually a yes, for an opportunity. I appreciate you sharing that. And we are going to provide feedback to April. At this time, I see Suresh, you have your hand up. I think you're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Congratulations, April, for delivering this speech today. And really, you delivered the thing, the power of yes, and as well as power of no. And you given your real-time examples at different stages of your life, and even after the pandemic as well. And during this period of delivering speech, your voice modulation is awesome, and you delivered the emotions in very well manner. And finally, you gave the conclusion. What is your take to the audience? So entire your speech is engaged, and I appreciate a lot. And with this, there are some little challenges, and you might have come with some kind of presentation kind of slides, 1 or 2. That is my opinion. So this would be added advantage for the for you. With this, over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. We are a little behind. So if you do have feedback for April, I encourage you to send her feedback through chat. At this time, we're going to move to our third segment, which is the table topics. Werner is our table topic master today. And I would say, because we're a little short on time, if we can keep our responses to 30 seconds to a minute.
Thank you very much. Yes, sometimes we do have to cram things in. I will try to fit in as many people as possible before 1:45. Questions. So many questions. Some are simple, some are very difficult. Being that we're probably going to be a little bit less on the time, I am going to try to give more of the simple questions. I do have some that might be a head scratcher, and it's not necessary to go that far. However, I have my people picker. This is my people picker. I spin it, and whoever it points to will be the one to get the first question. And it points to Mariatu. Mariatu, what, from your awareness, is mindfulness? What is mindfulness, Mariatu?
Mindfulness is when you show gratitude for everything that you have, when you appreciate those around you that help you through hard times. And when you wake up every morning and you give God the glory for being here and being grateful for the things that you have and being grateful for Him providing for you, that's mindfulness. When you're walking around in nature and you see the birds chirping and you see the beautiful flowers and you appreciate those things. When you see the sun is rising and the sun is setting and the beauty of it, you appreciate those things. That's mindfulness, being aware of the things around you, the beauty that is surrounding you. That is mindfulness. Thank you, Werner.
Thank you, Mariatu. Yes, being mindful of beauty. Don't they say, smell the roses along the way? Because we're often too busy to even notice the color of the rose, let alone smell it. Yes, beauty. Second person. And this is for Taya. Do you practice mindfulness? And if so, how? We have many ways of doing things usually. Do you? And how do you do that then?
Thank you for that question, Werner. Yes, I do practice mindfulness. In fact, it's been a while, but I did go through a yoga teacher training to be certified to teach yoga. And that has been a part of my practice even beyond teaching it. So yoga is definitely a form of mindfulness, right? Because of how we have to hold the poses and focus in that moment on the breath that Doris showed us this morning. And then also, I believe mindfulness is shown through walking. And so that is also one of my forms of exercise, and popping in a podcast or an audible along the way. And then sometimes just silence and being still with my thoughts is how I practice mindfulness. Thank you for that question, Werner.
Thank you, Taya. Yes, many ways to do things. And sometimes there's a slight difference or no difference at all, or a huge difference. For the next person, and that goes to Frankie Jones, what is the difference between mindfulness and contemplation? What is the difference between mindfulness and contemplation? Frankie Jones.
Thank you for that, Warner. Gosh. To me, contemplation is where you focus on a particular subject, or in mindfulness case, maybe a feeling, a reaction you've had that you're exploring why you reacted that way. Because for me, when things get dicey, when I get into fear or anger or frustration, I stop myself immediately. I do some deep breathing, and then I think about what's going on. Why did I react that way? Because I don't want to be in reaction. I want to respond. And so when I do that, and then I act, and then I go back and review. It's a tool taught to me by Dr. Charlotte Noggle called the STAR tool that she took to the K through 6th grade, and how to deal with conflict. Back to you, Werner.
Thank you. Yes. Sometimes we do have to stop ourselves in midstream and kind of go, ooh, what's this? The next one is a little bit of a funny, maybe, because not everybody knows what it is, but let's find out who's going to answer it first. And that is going to be Nerissa. Or Nezi, not sure which way to pronounce.
Ness, just call me Ness.
Yes, okay. Even if you don't know what this is, just answer the best you can. What is the monkey mind? What is the monkey mind? Yes.
For me, the monkey is somehow clever. So if you are you have a monkey mind, it means that you are clever. We have a saying in the Philippines. They say, even if you are clever, sometimes you get lost on a fight because you are not. I don't know how to translate it, because you are not giving your best to capture it at once. So being clever sometimes is good, but sometimes it is overpowered if you are not capturing moment abruptly or easily. Thank you.
Thank you, Nez. Yeah, we need to be focused on what really is out there and not let ourselves get too smart sometimes. Yes. This next one is something that sports people might be a little bit aware of, and we'll see if there's a sports person here. And that goes to Randy Powell. What does being in the zone or getting in the zone mean? What is being in the zone? Randy.
Well, good morning. Being in the zone is a mental space where I guess you look at it from the perspective of what is your position you're playing, what is it you're supposed to be doing, and you get into a real serious, deep focus in that zone so that you play the best at the highest level you can. So for example, if I'm the center on the basketball court, there's a specific zone in that area to protect the ball from coming in. And that's my space. That's where I really need to be focused at that point in time. So when you're in the zone, you're playing at your highest level, focusing at the highest peak. So that's an example of being in the zone. And you could say the same thing, a kicker, kicking field goal, that's his zone, and that's his only focus is to get that ball through the goal post. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, staying in focus, staying in focus. I do believe we have run out of time, unless there is any more time, Doris?
No. Let's do one more.
One more. Okay, well, let's have a little bit of a change in that there is known what is the observer and the observed. The observer and the observed. Let's have the people picker picking somebody here, and April popped into view with my pen. The observer and the observed. What does that mean? What is the difference between the observer and the observed? Who are they? April Gillis.
That is a very interesting question. The observer and the observed. The observer is the person observing, and the observed is the person being observed. One thing that I found interesting is that as you are the observer, sometimes we become unaware of the fact that as we observe others, others are also observing us. We can zone in and look at everyone else, but lose track of what we're doing. For example, do you have a thinking face, a very serious face when you're observing and thinking and watching others? So for you, as the observer, you're thinking, I'm focused, I'm analyzing. But if someone was observing you, they could think you're angry, you're frustrated. What's going on with them? You should smile more. But really, you're an observer observing someone else at the same time you're being observed. So I think the value would be to both observe, but be aware that you're also being observed simultaneously. Madam Toastmaster, or Sir Toastmaster, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, April. Yes, how the mirror just goes right back in our face. We're being observed. And that is the amount of time we have for today for table topics. And I set the front back to our Toastmaster of the Day, Doris Moore. Thank you.
Thank you, Table Topic Master Warner, for doing our improv speaking. I actually thought our questions were on point. We're going to move on to our general evaluators evaluation of our meeting today. So please welcome Ms. Roz Carter.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. What an outstanding meeting. And I think your theme today, Doris, really drove home why we are in this club. We take advantage of being mindful in our life, and then we transport that into this club. Our speakers today, Taya and April, provided just enough succinct information for us to capture what is it that they're working on. Taya is working on her blog, and the invited comments from the members showed her how attentive we were, how mindful we were, and how mindful she is in that endeavor. And then they offered some welcome suggestions on how she might be able to improve the speech at a later time. The same with April. April gave such food for thought on the power of yes and the power of no that I was almost in tears when she was explaining the various people that she took into her life and made it a yes because of their no. But then she turned it around. Her no became a yes for someone else. How mindful is that? The demonstration could have included pictures of these people that transitioned into from a yes to a no. Sometimes visual aid is very attractive in giving a speech. And I think that that would have been very helpful. Taya had a screen share for hers. But April, if you put into words on a screen, on a piece of paper, or a picture of some of the volunteers who then took your no into a yes and vice versa, I think it would have just made a more real approach because your words were so descriptive. It allowed us to jump right in and understand what your message was. I think that let me go back to the beginning. Dr. Valencia did an awesome installation of our 3 new members. And we expect to have many more, okay, because our club is growing. I think they felt welcomed by her induction, and we all joined in as members. So thank you very much, Madam President, for including that in our presentation this morning. The outside of that is Toastmaster of the Day guides us through the meeting. And Doris did an exceptional job. As a matter of fact, she's watching the time. And I'm going to cut mine a little bit short so that we can get back on track as well. And Werner, thank you so much for the entertaining questions that fit right into our theme and allowed at least 6 people, 2 of which already were speakers today. So you might look at choosing people who do not have a role on the meeting so that they can be engaged as well. Sometimes we don't know, and you had a way of selecting the participants you were calling on. But sometimes we don't know if we're going to be called on, and table topics is where that might occur. And that's why we all log in and we all want to participate and attend all of our meetings. So I welcome all of you to be here today, early or late, like for Nez. It's an opportunity for Toastmasters to let us demonstrate our skills, our mindfulness, and we appreciate all that you have done for us today with all the participants. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ms. Carter, for that feedback. I'm going to ask at this time for a timer's report. Ms. Frankie, do you have your report ready?
I do. Our first speaker, Taya, spoke for 4 minutes and 13 seconds. And April spoke for 8 minutes and 27 seconds. So both of you need to ask for more time. You're a little over. Our table topics, Mariatu was 51 seconds. Taya was 52. I was 103. Nez was 49. Randy was 53. And April was 113. And Roz, your evaluation of the meeting was 410. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Before I hand the meeting to our Madam President, I want to leave you guys with a thought today on mindfulness, on how you can start today. Did you know that when eating for good digestion, you should chew your food 20 to 30 times before swallowing? So today, as you eat your lunch or maybe breakfast or dinner, I challenge you to savor the flavors, to sit and not in front of the television, and to really enjoy and be mindful of the food that you're consuming. And with that, I'm going to hand the meeting back to our Madam President, Dr. Valencia Jones, to close this out.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here today, the presiding officer of the meeting. The meeting went great. We stayed within time in spite of an unexpected surprise, some that we inducted a few members. The speeches were great. We are happy to see some members that we haven't seen in a few weeks. Great table topics, corner. And I hope that each of you feel like the reasons why you joined Entrepreneurs were fulfilled today. I also want to thank Roz Carter, as always, our first president. He's still president walking next to me, just FYI, but we appreciate you for your support, for what you do with Free Toast Hosts as our VPE, and leading, guiding, and mentoring me. Earlier, we talked about having mentors. So if you don't have a mentor and you see someone in the audience or on Zoom in that 2x2 space that you would like to be your mentor, please reach out to them, but also let our VPE know, I believe, so that we can keep track of who our mentors are and ensure that everyone has one assigned. I do want to make a few announcements that we have. The first one is, I just drew a blank. The first one is, oh, I'm going to the Bahamas. So some of you know that the convention is coming up. And in addition to serving as your president, I am the program quality director for District 12. And the international convention is in 2 weeks. So if you have not registered, you can register online. If you want to come to the Bahamas with me, let's go. The weather probably be similar to what it is right now. In addition to that, officer training updates will be complete by Monday. So if you don't see your updates done, they will be done by Monday. And congratulations to this club for having all officers trained. Give yourselves a hand, please. That's coming to me as like PQD, but you do. You're one of the few clubs that have all officers trained. And with that in mind, if all minds are clear, I would like to have a closing thought. Is there anyone by surprise that has a closing thought? Something that is encouraging, a quote, 1 minute closing thought, or a 30-second quote that they would like to give and share with us so that we can remember this until we meet again. I see Charles. Charles, is that your hand up? Or is that Frankie?
That was my
Okay.
hand.
Frankie.
Go ahead.
Okay.
My closing thought would be a quote from Zig Ziglar, which says, "You can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want."
Thank
that's
you,
true.
Charles. And Frankie, you can give yours. We still have another 2.5 minutes.
This is from Bob Proctor. Richness is not about what you have. It's about who you are.
I love it. And the last closing thought is, I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me. We have 3 closing thoughts. With that in mind, we will see you in 2 weeks. Same Entrepreneurs Toastmasters Day, same Entrepreneurs Toastmasters Zoom link, same Entrepreneurs Toastmasters time. Thank you very much for attending, and bye for now.